So tell me, Steve, if I was cheating in a sport and it came out I was cheating, and I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I really want to talk about the Yamaha cheating thing going on here.
Right.
So Yamaha's engines, we know now that they were using illegal valves.
Yes.
And we know that Yamaha as a constructor have been docked points.
Yes.
And we know that the Yamaha team and the Petronas team have been docked points.
Yes.
Why were the riders not docked points?
Was it their fault?
I don't know if it was their fault.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't their fault, but ignorance isn't innocence.
No. I mean, let's say, hypothetically, it came out that they had been riding machines that were illegal, and they stood there and 100% hand on the heart could say they had no idea. Don't dock points. But in this world, I can't see them not knowing. You know, there was such a big thing about the engines, how many they have, how many would last, and Yamaha sending engines back to Japan to be split apart to replace the valves, trying to get permission to do it. I can't see in this day and age someone not going, was this engine okay?
Yeah, and there's that time where Yamaha were like, oh no, we withdraw our request to open the engines because we fixed the problem now, we think. Yeah, and obviously they had, and they fucking cheated to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's when some engineer comes forward and goes, or someone says, like, where's the packet of illegal valves? And some engineer at the back goes, well, I put them in.
Yeah, I bet that's exactly the... What, illegal valves? No.
Yeah. What are we talking about? What are you on about?
Yeah.
Wait, what? There's no illegal valves in here. They're in the engines.
Yeah, these are not the valves you're looking for.
Yeah. I like that. Very Alec Guinness of you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Well, you're in Scotland. That probably should have been Ewan McGregor.
That's fair. Well, I am actually at a Star Wars themed location, so...
What?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it later, because to tell you about it now would be giving my location away, and I feel like as this isn't my house, I'm probably not allowed to do that at the moment.
No, tell me later, because I love Star Wars.
Yeah. Anyway, let's dive in. So I'm
Let's
Tim,
go for it.
he's Steve, and this is For the Love of MotoGP. So yeah, the engine thing, man. I understand where you're coming from. If it's not their fault, the riders didn't know, should they be penalised? And it sort of makes sense to me, except that if they were using illegal engines to score any points whatsoever, it takes the piss for every other factory that's followed the rules. Like, for example, if Suzuki weren't in the position they're in now, and say Suzuki lost the championship because Yamaha got 3 points a few rounds ago with an illegal engine, Suzuki have been severely mugged off for that. And while I would hate to see the championship come down to being won or lost in a courtroom, I really would also hate to see it being won or lost by cheating.
Yeah, I'm really gutted that Yamaha have done this.
Yeah.
You know, they're such a big factory. Why risk it? Why cheat?
And that's the thing, and I actually, we say cheating like it was like a nefarious act, like cheating, but in reality, it probably wasn't. It probably was like we've just joked about, some guy just being like, "Oh, I got a spare bag of valves here. Why don't we just chuck these in for fuck's sake?" And not realizing that they weren't homologated and they couldn't use those. I'm sure it was an accident, but just because I don't realize I've left a 60-mile-an-hour limit and I'm now in a 30. Doesn't mean I'm not going to get a speeding ticket. No.
Whatever happens, it's an illegal part and should not have been in the engine.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence with whether the riders should have been docked points or not. Big part of me is like, yeah, if it's illegal, it's illegal. You've ridden it, you lose your points.
And I think I know where you're going with this next point.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, it would just destroy the championship.
It would destroy the championship. That's the problem, isn't it? Because I'd have been if this had happened the other way and they had been docked points, I'd be effing and blinding right now about how much of a joke it is that the championship's ruined.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't think there was a decision I'd have been happy with at this point.
No, I think, all we want to see is our last round tussle for the title.
Yeah.
And if we'd have been robbed 3 rounds before of what potentially is coming down to the biggest scrap for the title we've ever seen,
Yeah.
we'd be swearing our heads off. We'd be like going nuts, effing and blinding at Yamaha, the stewards for docking the points.
Yeah.
Anyone we could get our hands on would have been, wringing the necks. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it's happened. Yamaha, for whatever reason, thought it was a good idea to do this. And I did read somewhere that the other manufacturers are saying, calling for the riders still to be dock points.
Okay. I did read it's everyone except Suzuki, because Suzuki are like, if we're going to win, we want to win fairly. We don't want to win in a courtroom, like I was saying earlier.
Yeah. If you're going to beat them, beat them. If they can only win races by cheating or using illegal parts, and they still can't win, tough luck.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, I did think that going into this race, it was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm like, I don't know what I want to happen here. Should Yamaha lose those points? Should they still have the points? Do I want Yamaha to be fighting for the championship? Do I not? And then I did kind of conclude that, yeah, okay, I really want to see them fight for the championship. And I'm just more angry about it now because of the events in the race that mean that they're basically not fighting for the championship anymore.
Yeah, I mean, beforehand, it was like, oh, for Christ's sake, now it's the race is over. It's almost like a completely different circle.
Yeah.
I've just tried to look back through the emails just to see what the deal is with it, see if there's anything there, but it's going to take too long, so I'm going to abandon that. It is what it is. They've done it. Post race now, we'll get on to that. It's a completely different story. But I'm just thinking, if they can't win by using illegal bits, then don't even bother trying. But discouraging, really disheartening that they've done this.
Yeah, and again, like I'm sure it wasn't a nefarious act. I'm sure. I don't know whether this is naive of me, and I want to be sure of it more than I actually am, because I'm just like, but there's no corruption in motorbike racing. That's for politics, not for my favourite sport. I'm sure there's a lot of corruption in this, because there's a lot of money in this sport, to be fair.
I'm sure there's a lot of corruption that we don't hear about, and it's just all dusted under the mat somehow.
Yeah, well, isn't it Sete Gibernau was once sponsored by like some African warlord?
Oh God, now you go back. Yeah, I vaguely remember something about this where he was linked to or had links to some body that either currently or in the past was not very nice, should we say?
Yeah, I think they were they washing money through a sponsor. I can't remember. I'll have to look into it before I start making accusations. So that's stuff I could be remembering very badly. So if you're listening, Sete, please don't sue me for that. And in fact, if you are listening, give me a call. We can come on and interview and maybe contest your innocence on the show. That'd be great. So let's move on from that anyway, before I do get us into legal trouble.
Kick my damn chest off. Hold up. Oh, sorry about that. Apologies.
Okay, mate. That's fine. It is what it is. I might even edit that one out,
I'll leave it in.
All right, we'll leave it in then. That's fine. So let's dive into, we've kind of already alluded to it pretty much, but how the championship feels over. Well, at least it feels over to me. Johan Mir went and did what I don't know, I wasn't expecting him to go and win a race this year. I really wasn't. I'd kind of got it in my head that he wasn't going to do it. So now he has. I feel a bit confused.
I didn't think he'd do it here, not this first weekend. I thought it might be next weekend. I thought he might have just got his eye in this weekend. Especially when I saw the weather forecast. I was like, ooh, this is going to be dicey. But then, as in, Sunday turned out to be nice and dry.
Yeah.
And he did go and do it. And it's about time. Everyone can say now, if he does go and win the title, he's a title winner and a MotoGP race winner.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? And that's partly why I'm quite disappointed about it, because I really wanted him to take the title without winning a race.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was dying for Rins to come back and just nick that first place, because I'm so desperate for him to win the title and be that first person to do it without ever winning a race.
Yeah.
And the bastard robbed us of it.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake.
Why is he so good, damn it?
Yes. But yeah, I do feel like it is hanging by a thread now.
Yeah, it almost feels like, when Marc Marquez is going into the last 6 races and needs to score like 1 point and then the championship's done. Like, it feels inevitable now. It felt like going into this race, it felt like there was still a sliver of hope for the other riders.
Yeah.
But now it feels inevitable. And I feel like we'd hyped so long the idea of going to Portimao, a track that we've never been to. It's going to be this amazing roller coaster of a circuit, and it's going to be something fantastic where maybe it's going to rain, it might be a flag to flag, and it's going to be a championship fight coming down to the wire. And now there's 2 races to that, and it's basically over.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. I was sat here thinking this is going to be fucking fantastic. I was like, this weird's going to get like, I don't know. Mia's not going to score great. Everyone else is going to catch him up. And then, come the following weekend, it's going to be topsy-turvy and we're not sure what's going to happen. And then we're just going to go down for an absolutely blinding Portimao where it's a neutral track.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to get used to it. We don't know what's happening with Portimao yet. It's going to be so up in the air still. And we were just going to be sat there all week swapping texts going, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just going to build up to something. And he went and won a race, and everyone didn't score badly, but didn't score great. And it was like, oh Christ! Now it's getting to that pinnacle point where it's almost, he's got one hand on the trophy and he's now reaching with the other one.
Yeah, definitely.
It just kind of feels a little bit anticlimactic.
Yeah, and to be fair, I actually think that everyone did score pretty badly except Rins. I think Rins was the only person that didn't score badly.
Oh, he's clawed his way back up there. But still, somehow, the others are kind of in with a sniff.
Yeah.
It's just like, I would say now there's only really 4 contenders.
Oh, certainly there's only 4. I think there's probably, realistically, I think there's only 1, and I think there's only 2 people that have got a shred of a hope of beating him.
Yeah, all bar bearing a mistake.
Yes, it would take a DNF to bring the championship back together. And as much as I want to see this championship run down to Portimao, I also don't want to see it happen as a DNF for Mir.
But we will see. We saw a lot of fallers this weekend.
There was a lot.
There was a lot of fallers, so we will see. This weekend's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, that's it. So should we dive into our usual race review then and go from there?
Let's go for it.
Okay, so in their usual position as the factories to talk about is Aprilia. Again, my notes just read classic Aprilia.
They do, and I completely agreed with you. I didn't really get time making notes, but that's the first thing that came into my head. Was like standard.
Yeah, exactly. We did get some news actually before we dive too deeply into Aprilia. Ione's ban.
Yes, has been
confirmed and extended to 4 years. So not the 18 months that it was. Now 4 years. I was reading the article on the race about it. There's actually quite a fun series of Iannone articles on the race that are worth checking out. Mm-hmm. And that was saying that because Iannone had claimed, I ingested dodgy meat or meat that had this steroid in. I didn't know I was taking it. And the court were like, look, if you can't tell us where you ate this meat, what the meat was, where you got it, blah, 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 then why should we come anywhere near believing you? And he was like, I guess I can't do any of that. So he seems quite upset. His Instagram seems to be quite upset. But at the end of the day, it's done now, isn't it? So
it is what it is. He appealed, they appealed, he lost.
Yeah, exactly. And part of me thinks he probably should have just taken the 18 months on the nose and gone with it. It's like, but then I don't know. It's the idea that do you go down for murder? Do you admit to it and take 10 years in jail, or not admit to it and potentially go for 25?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. If it was me and I generally had no idea, I'd have to appeal it.
Yeah, I think I would, but then I don't know. He was already 9 months into his 18-month ban, wasn't he?
Exactly. It was creeping down fast, and at some point you've got to sit there and think, well, I'll just ride this storm out and just get back on track as quick as possible. But it is a shame. I really like the guy. There is a cracking presence to have around the paddock, and I think I've always said he's the kind of character that attracts people to the sport.
Yeah, he definitely does.
on and off the track. You look at his Instagram account, absolutely cracking.
Yeah.
You know, vain as hell, don't get me wrong, but
also a beautiful, beautiful man.
he is a beautiful, beautiful man. I've forgotten how much you love him.
Yeah.
But he is. No one can deny it. He's a good-looking fella, and he's almost like one of those complete packages. He can ride bikes fast. He's a good-looking dude. Lives life to the fullest, and he's just that kind of presence that I think the paddock needs.
Yeah, certainly. At least he, I don't know. I think Scott Redding is the kind of presence the paddock needs. I think Ian O'Neill has manufactured himself to appear to be the presence the paddock needs without actually being that presence.
Redding's just nuts. I was following him on Instagram the other week, and he was riding like vintage road racing bikes to Bournemouth and back.
Wow.
These things must have been ancient. And it's just what he was doing in the absolute pissing down rain. And it's just loving life to the fullest.
Yeah, that's the thing I quite like about Scott Redding is he's just like, it appears that after MotoGP and that year at Aprilia, he kind of just went, do you know what? I'm living the life that everyone wants, so I'm just going to fucking own it now. Yeah, and he just does. And he just does what he wants to do. He just has a laugh, has a play. Actually seems like quite a nice guy. I spent a lot of time thinking he was a bit of a dick. But I actually think he comes across as quite a nice guy. He's just very full on and in your face.
Yeah. He is
just living the life, isn't he?
Yeah. I'd love to sit down and chat to him. If we ever had the opportunity to get him on the show, I would have a list of questions for him as long as my arm. I just think he'd give you genuine answers. There'd be no bullshit. You could ask him stuff, get the full truth, and just dig into his mind about how he lives his life, and I think it'll be a cracking interview to have.
Yeah, certainly. Did you hear the Gas It Out interview with him?
I did, yes. I can't remember it fully now because life's been hectic recently, so
yeah, it's quite an old one, but that's really, really good. I guess if any of you guys listening haven't listened to Gas It Out at all, you probably should. But if you haven't listened to the Scott Redding episode, definitely do, because that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a big plug there, guys. We expect one back.
Yeah, right. Anyway, let's go on from that. So with Ian O'Neill's ban, Aprilia have got a seat to fill.
They have got a seat to fill, and that list is getting shorter.
It's getting way shorter now. Dovi's said no. It looks like Cal Crutchlow has said no. We can assume Bradley Smith's not going to be on there after him being booted off for the last 3 races. So
it's not leaving many options, is it?
No, and that Lorenzo rumour seems to be getting stronger, doesn't it?
That is starting to gain some weight, and I really wouldn't be surprised if he ends up there.
Oh, I just cannot believe that he's even considering it. He managed to not be able to ride the Honda and just sort of gave up and just rode around the back. Is he going to be committed enough to be riding the Aprilia?
I don't know. I think it depends on what the project is.
Yeah, I guess so. Will they listen to him? I guess Honda were never going to listen to him because they had Marquez, but he could go into Aprilia as the lead rider. And maybe, arguably, Lorenzo can develop a bike. We've seen it. He really made a really smooth handling Yamaha. As soon as he left Yamaha have gone to shit.
Bosh. Yep. It would be a massive claim for them to have him there.
Certainly, and it would be a good claim for him to do what Danny Pedrosa is doing over at KTM. Exactly.
If he can emulate that success, he could come out of it smelling like roses.
Yeah, certainly.
And let's face it, he's so talented, and like you say, he could develop a bike. Does he need the money? Probably not. No,
he definitely doesn't. Have you seen his car collection?
Yeah, he's seen his jacket collection. Jesus,
fucking hell, yeah.
I like that jacket collection. I always go through his Instagram like, what's he bought now?
Oh God, I think the man has terrible style.
I think he's got terrible style. I wouldn't have the balls to wear it in public, but I think he's great for having the balls to wear it in public.
Yeah, fair.
It'd be a great scout for them. I think it'd be a fantastic project for him, and I really think he should do it. So sign that bit of paper.
Yeah, it'd be fun for the rest of us, wouldn't it?
Yeah, can you imagine him coming out and actually getting that bike to do something, and all of a sudden we're not talking about Aprilia first?
God, it would be mind-blowing.
It would be amazing.
But
amazing.
Aside from him, I don't know really who else could get that ride at this point. Tito Rabat hasn't got a ride.
No.
But other than that, I've not got a clue who would be, unless Lorenzo Salvadori is going to be the guy.
He could be. Did himself
no favours.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's Lorenzo or bust myself. I thought that he'd be the. If I was team boss, I'd see what I'd be aiming for.
Yeah, I think that would have to be it. But we'll see.
Mm.
I guess it's just going to be one of those things that we're going to find out over the next couple of weeks, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I hope so. It'd be nice to have confirmation before the season's over.
Yeah, well, especially. Oh, what's happening? Is there a Valencia test this year? I assume not.
I don't know. I haven't actually heard anything. I haven't even looked into it, to be honest with you.
No, it didn't even occur to me that we always go to Valencia at the end of the year for a test.
That's a very good point, actually, because that's normally the televised one. So
yeah, I assume it won't be a Portimao test, so that's something to look into for the next show.
Yeah, definitely. Make a note of that one.
And then let's dive back into talking about Aprilia's race performance then, shall we? We did briefly mention Lorenzo Salvadori not covering himself in glory this weekend.
No.
Qualified in 20th and crashed out maybe lap 3 or 4, got back on the bike, but then just retired.
Yeah. Don't know what happened, whether it was something to do with the crash or don't know.
He was getting lapped, wasn't he, after remounting and stuff? So I don't know whether he just went, "Oh fuck this, I'm going to get a drink."
Yeah, maybe. It's like, I saw it.
Yeah. So that's sort of the end of his first weekend. Aleix Espargaro, speaking of covering themselves in glory, actually 6th place in qualifying.
Did really well and looked bloody good.
Yeah, really solid, I think, and that was a proper because the conditions were shit.
They were shit,
and it was just one of those classic Aleix Espargaro, hold your breath and fucking get on with it.
Yeah, balls to the wall. Let's have it.
Yeah, exactly. And then followed up by when the actual race came around, it was just that weird crash on lap 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, because he did look good, and I was really hoping he was actually going to convert it into something pretty damn good. But there we go. Yeah, he didn't make it through the first lap.
No, not at all, which is a shame.
Yes. Yeah, going for him, but we will see.
Yeah, certainly will. And then that moves us on to. I like that we're getting quick with this Aprilia thing now. It's like boom, done, moving on.
Yeah. Draw a line under that.
I mean, I say getting quick. We've been talking for about 20 minutes and I only just got past them. So maybe not so good. So let's bring us to the next factory then. Weird to have them here. Yamaha.
It's a bad weekend.
It was a terrible weekend, man. Terrible.
That Lynn Jarvis's pout must have hit new Donald Duck records.
I bet it did. I reckon he's got some Botox in there just to hold it in an angry pout for like the rest of the season now.
Botox, mate, scaffolding, whatever you want, mate. That is going to be out there. You could land jumbo jets on that pout.
Yeah, and it's going to be getting worse because we've got both Quartararo and Vinales now, like taking shots at Yamaha. Vinales, God, some of Vinales' comments were things like, in 2016, you could look back and you could see that Lorenzo and Rossi were at the front every weekend. He's like, now we are nowhere. Like Yamaha, he's like, on a good weekend, we can be there. The rest of the time, we cannot. Yamaha cannot make a bike that works like they used to be able to.
There was some serious comments getting chucked about.
Whoa, he's fucking throwing shade. And Quartararo is like, yeah, I agree. And the two of them are going to be a nightmare for Yamaha next year because if they keep gobbing off but do it together like this, Lynn Jarvis is going to be livid, man.
I can't wait. I think it's going to be brilliant.
Oh, it's going to be fun to watch.
I'm going to be a fly on that wall. I don't take what it takes. I'm getting in that garage. I will be the minion dressed up in the corner. I don't care. I'll make tea, wipe the floors. I don't give a shit.
Hold the brollies. I'm all over it.
I got it. I just want to hear what's going on. They did fire some cracking broadsides at them.
Yeah, and I imagine that's just going to continue over the next few weeks.
Yeah, the frustration is starting to show.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Big time.
They did have Yamaha. The best thing actually about Yamaha's weekend was Garrett Gerloff.
I know. Where did he come from?
I'm actually quite gutted that Rossi came back for the race because Gerloff during that the Fridays FP1 and FP2. I guess anyone who doesn't know about Garrett Gerloff or maybe wasn't watching the free practice sessions, Valentino Rossi couldn't come and do the Friday free practice sessions because he once again tested positive for COVID. And then you have to have 2 negative tests before you can come back. So he tested, I think he tested positive on the Tuesday.
Something like that, yeah. But
took a second test on the Wednesday, tested negative, and then had to wait until the Friday afternoon to take his second test or third test, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. It was either Thursday I think it might have been the Thursday because it's got to be 24 hours at
Oh, I
least.
thought it had to be 48 hours.
One of the two, anyways.
Okay.
It's the Wednesday or Thursday, but basically he didn't get the test in time for Friday, which meant Gerloff got the chance to have a go.
Yeah. And Gerloff, for again, those of you who don't know, is a world superbike rider at the moment, riding for the Yamaha GRT team.
Yep.
And he's one of the only American in world superbikes this year.
I believe so, yes.
They came across from Moto America and had a pretty good year, I think. The last few races of the year certainly improved. And jumped on Rossi's bike in FP1 and FP2 and was running inside the top 10 for most of it.
Yeah, it looked bloody good. I didn't get to watch FP1 and 2 live. I put it back on later. I was like, hang on, he's not read the script here.
Exactly. Like, I was thinking, I turned it on, I was like, oh, God, the conditions are shit. I'm like, if Gerloff is 10 seconds off the back of the grid, it's going to look embarrassing, but realistically, like, you can't expect him to be much better than that at this point.
Yeah.
And there he just was comfortably inside the top 10. You're like, whoa, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah. It didn't look like it was hard at all.
No.
Actually looked like he was comfortable. I was like, hang on, mate. Just calm down here.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden he's going to bid it, and he just didn't. I was like, hang on. What are you doing, mate? Just chill out for a sec.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think he was very impressive. I really enjoyed seeing him on there. So hopefully we get a chance to see him again riding around on the MotoGP bike. I
would really like to see that. He's done himself the world of good to come back. You know, no one's going to turn him down after that.
There certainly seems to be a wave of Americans coming over now, doesn't there? Obviously, Gerloff's having success in World Superbikes, comes over to MotoGP to do this. There's Cameron Bobier is coming over into Moto2 next year. Joe Roberts is moving from that American racing team onto the Ital Trans team. So there does seem to be a wave of Americans coming back, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, we had a bit of a drought of Americans, but yeah, they're starting to come back again, which is really good because they do produce some bloody awesome races, as we've seen in the past.
Yeah, certainly.
So it'll be cracking to have them back.
It will. So let's dive into the rest of Yamaha anyway.
Go for it.
Let's go with Valentino Rossi first. Missed out on 2 pre-practice sessions. Came back on the Saturday, so did FP3. Didn't put time in really. Had to go through qualifying 1, didn't get through, qualified in 18th in the end. So, you know, Rossi's an old dude without like the extra 2 hours of practice or whatever.
Didn't qualify well. Didn't look comfortable at all, I would say. Looking at him, just his general body language on the bike. And then
we don't know if he's like suffering from COVID. Like, we know that's really knocked it out of some people for months, isn't it? Like, so it's not as not the fact that your symptoms are over and then you're done. It's a lot of the time your symptoms are over, but you've got like fatigue for weeks on end. So we don't really know a lot about his physical condition there.
No, I mean, I've just got over a chest infection, as some of you have heard from the last few bloody podcasts from me sounding like an idiot.
You always sound like an idiot, Steve. You just had a different voice that time.
Sorry. But yeah, even that takes it out of you. Just having a simple, ordinary chest infection that just drains you. So whatever this having COVID must be like, and let's face it, he's not a spring chicken.
No, exactly.
Don't know. Fatigue.
But probably significantly fitter than most people his age.
I wouldn't want to go up against him on a treadmill.
Definitely not, mate. Definitely not.
No, we know how fit you've got to be to ride one of these things.
Yeah.
He's not one that posts like workout videos, so he's either very naturally talented or just does it on the down low.
Well, he just rides motorbikes a lot, doesn't he? I think that's how he gets most of his workout done.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, he didn't actually have to put his fitness to the test for the race because DNF on lap 5. Just the engine seemed to die.
Yeah, we just saw the camera just suddenly shot to a picture of Rossi on the side of the track, just like looking at his bike.
Yeah, apparently it was a fuel pump issue. The official line on that, but who knows? Maybe Gerloff just ran the engine a bit hard and
just gave it a big one.
Yeah.
Rossi got back to the pitch. What the fuck are you doing on my bike?
You're quite sorry. Gerloff was out by that point.
He's on the plane. See ya.
So then let's go on to Rossi's teammate, I guess, Maverick Vinales. Also didn't get out of Q2, qualified 15th, but also then had to start from the pit lane because he opened his 6th engine.
Yes, gutting. but necessary evil.
Yeah.
Got to have an engine.
Finished in 13th in the end, and initially we looked back at the timesheets and stuff today, and I was like, oh, I finished 13th. So I qualified 15th, started from pit lane, finished 13th, not bad. And then I looked a bit closer and realised that the only person he actually beat was the other Yamaha of Fabio Quartararo, who had fallen off his bike. There was no other finishers because they all fell off.
Yes.
So he didn't actually recover anywhere near as well as I thought he had.
No, he was definitely helped. He had a lot of helping hands this weekend.
Yeah, he certainly did. But it's just a weekend to forget, I think, for Vinales, as it is for the entirety of Yamaha. We've just mentioned Quartararo finished 14th in the race. He crashed on lap 1 in exactly the same place as Aleix Espargaro. It was weird.
Yeah, I initially, when we saw the crash, thought one had wiped the other out.
I'm not going to lie, I assumed Aleix had wiped out Quartararo.
That was my first thought. But when you saw a replay, it was one of those simultaneous just falls. Just both had identical crashes. Just one was wider than the other. Off they go in the gravel, and happy days. When we first saw the crash, they were then getting up, and I thought, well, one's going to have a spat at the other in a minute for wiping them out, and they just got up and walked away. I was like, oh, that's a bit tame.
Yeah, it was weird because it wasn't until like a lap or two later where we saw the crash, and you're like, okay, no one did wipe anyone out.
Yeah, that's why they were happy-ish.
Yeah. But that's sort of it now, isn't it? Like Quartararo's 37 points back off the championship lead. And if Yamaha can't give them a fucking bike, then there's no chance he's going to recover those points in the next 2 rounds.
No, they have got to pull, I don't know, a miracle out of the bag now.
Yeah.
In my eyes. If they, let's say this weekend rolls round and they improve slightly, let's just say they're, a little bit quicker, and they're 2 or 3 places up the grid, that's nowhere near good enough. Especially, chances are we could see the same sort of mixed conditions over the weekend. We could even see a wet race potentially. Who knows? Absolutely who knows? But Yamaha have got a huge uphill struggle.
Yeah, and I mean, even if it is a wet race, that's probably no good for Yamaha.
No, blah blah. Christ, I can't talk tonight. Their form is just all over the place.
Yeah,
it needs some serious attention. And if I was them, I'd be looking at the end of the season and just want to shut those garage doors.
Yes, yeah, I think that would certainly be the case. Let's just dive quickly to Morbidelli, Fabio's teammate. Sorry, qualified 9th, finished 11th, top Yamaha. 11th, top Yamaha.
Yeah, not
Says
good.
It all, doesn't it?
That does say it all. That is a bad weekend.
Yeah, apparently he had a tyre pressure issue in which they had the hard tyre on and had too much air in it. So as it heated up, it became rock hard, much like Quartararo in that, was it Aragon 1?
Yeah. Oh, damn, their mechanics aren't having a good weekend.
No, so that's the same issue at 2 different tracks in 1 year with 2 different bikes. So that's something that the team really need to look at. And you can't blame Yamaha for that. That's a Petronas issue there.
Yeah, someone's getting a slap on the wrist. Ooh.
Yeah, so that's not great.
No, not at all. But yeah, absolute hell of a weekend to forget for Yamaha.
Yeah, exactly. And then I guess that moves us on to another factory who really had a weekend to forget. And that would be Ducati.
We should be talking about the factory team so far down our order.
It's weird, isn't it? Like, we're so used to having Aprilia there and just talking about them first and getting it over and done with. It's weird to then talk about Yamaha and Ducati. Like, and I'd even got to the point this year where I was quite used to talking about Honda in that top group.
Yes.
But yeah, talk about Yamaha and Ducati there feels strange.
Yes. Yeah. It's not good.
So let's go with, I don't know where to start on this. Tito Rabat, I guess. Qualifying stone last. Weird weekend for Tito. It was announced that obviously Tito's out of a job next year, even though he'd signed a contract. It looks like, well, it's certain now that Bastianini is going to be taking Zarco's seat. And Luca Marini, Valentino's brother, will be taking Tito Rabat's seat.
Yes.
Both of them riding 2019 Ducatis, from what I understand.
Yes, yeah.
Which seems weird. They're going to be riding 2-year-old machinery at that point.
Yeah, that is a bit of a strange one. I heard that as well, which I don't really get. if I'm honest. I haven't seen a reason why.
I'm sure it'd be funding. I'm sure it's money.
Yeah, it's a bizarre one.
Yeah, although we have seen this year, Zarco has been able to put in some pretty solid results on that 2019 bike. So, actually, and looking at Ducati's current progress, maybe the 2019 bike will be the best Ducati on the grid next year.
Exactly what I was going to say. They might have just hit the nail on the head and gone, you know what? Let's have that one.
Yeah, because that's still Lorenzo's baby. That's the way I think about that Ducati, is that's the one Lorenzo developed.
Exactly. Yeah. Development rider job, Aprilia. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah, quite.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
yes,
a strange weekend for him.
Terrible. Like, there was points when it was pissing it down with rain. He was running 14 seconds off the pace.
What the hell?
Yeah,
when was the
FP1 and 2? But yeah, like, when was the last time we saw someone do that?
Yeah, in MotoGP, you just don't see that kind of time gap anymore.
No, and that's if he'd put that time in qualifying, he would not have qualified for the race.
No, he wouldn't have met that 110%.
Yeah, which is mad. But yeah, he qualified
insane.
stone last and then didn't finish the race. It looked like he just pulled in. It looked like he didn't even crash. He just went, nah, fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah, you don't want me? Fuck you.
And I wonder whether that's a lot of it. I wonder whether he was told, sorry, we know you've signed a contract, but you're out of a job next year. And he's just gone, oh, fuck you lot, then I'm done.
Yeah, maybe. And to be honest with you, if that is the reason, I can blame him.
No, I don't really blame him too much. Well,
No.
Yeah, no. It's one of those things, and he's probably been screwed over by that team. I suggest Tito joins a union. That's all I can say.
Yeah, if you can't join one, start one.
Yes, Tito starting the Riders Union. Can you imagine?
Holding a press conference with himself. First year, I'm on my own. That's him. Harsh way, very, very harsh way to lose your ride.
Certainly.
But I don't know. Options, I'm not sure where we'll see him, but I really hope he gets a ride.
We're definitely not going to see him on the GP grid.
No.
There is a lot of talk already of him having World Superbike rides sorted out. So
yeah, and we're seeing what people could do when they make that switch. So with any luck, we'll see him in the World Supers.
Certainly, and I think he's certainly a good enough rider to come in and be really good in World Superbikes. So it's just a matter of what team he gets on. So his teammate in Johan Zarco qualified fourth, which is a fucking solid result.
Just somewhere came up with it. It was like, hello.
Yeah, really good qualifying result. Finished the race in 9th. Pretty disappointing. I don't really remember seeing him much in the race, to be honest.
No, the camera was definitely focused on the front.
Yeah.
So again, we talked about these people getting lost in the race, becoming the grey men. If you're not at the front, you get lost. And it was a very concentrated race, should we say.
Yeah.
And we just saw nothing of him.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
The race started, carnage for a few couple. Jesus Christ!
A few couple of laps.
Yeah.
You're on the mate. I'm the one on the whiskey tonight. You're supposed to be holding it together with your words here while I start stumbling over mine.
That's sympathy drunk.
Sympathy drunk. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of invisible grey men, Francesco Bagnaia qualified 17th. Crashed out of the race again.
Yeah.
That's
another
now,
crash.
How many races have we had MotoGP this year? 12 now?
Yes, 12, I believe,
12.
top of my head.
So he has not scored points now in 66% of races this year and has got a factory seat out of that somehow.
Good lad. Well done. I don't know how that works, but well done.
Yeah, quite. It beggars belief, man. Like
it does.
There was that point in mid-season where we're like, "Oh, do you take Bagnaia or Zarco onto the factory squad?" And it looked like you take Bagnaia. That's what made sense.
He was on his run of good results.
Yeah, exactly. But now you look at him; he's 16th in the championship. He's only scored points in 4 races. Johan Zarco's only 3 places above him in the championship, in 13th. But it's got 71 points. Like, we're looking at almost double the points haul.
It's baffling.
Yeah.
Absolutely baffling how you can get in that position.
It's strange, isn't it? Especially when we look at what his teammates doing. Because Jack Miller's, again, qualified 7th, finished 6th. So not setting the world on fire, but still, putting in solid results.
Yeah, you can understand why the factory wanted him.
Yeah.
I get that completely. It does, I don't know. I struggle to understand this sort of situation where you could be in that position and still get a factory ride, like you say.
I think it helps that he's Italian. It helps that he's part of the VR46 Academy, and he did it off the back of a podium, which definitely helps.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether he's just taken his proverbial foot off the gas or wrist off the gas, I guess, at this point. And it's just been like, you know what, I'm just going to chill. I'm not going to hurt myself by the end of the year. Let's just get on the big red bike and then work it out from there.
I think that could be part of it. The other part of me wants to think like he's kind of trying to prove why they've signed him and is maybe pushing a bit too hard.
Maybe. And maybe it went to his head a little when the Ducati bosses were like, Francesco's learned how to ride the Ducati. This is how you have to ride Ducati. Like, he's doing it. He can make it turn. He can do it. He's the future. And maybe that's just got to him.
It might have done. Could well have done. That ego might have just had that boost, and all of a sudden he's thinking, right, I can crack this throttle just this little bit early, and down you go. Don't know. Whatever the reason is, it's still, a bit of an odd situation to find yourself in.
Yeah, it certainly is.
But to do it, have these results, and still get a factory contract, good on you.
Yeah, fair enough. You can't blame him, I guess.
It's like, Jesus, I just hope your form improves next year.
Yes, certainly. Because if it doesn't, we'll be talking about him in the same way we're talking about his factory compatriots right now. Danilo Petrucci, qualifying 19th, racing to 10th.
Don't even want to talk about it.
Moving on. Andrea Dovizioso then, qualified 14th, raced to 8th.
There's a piece like in your notes you put, while still mathematically in the title fight. How the absolute hell?
Yeah, I know. And I mean, it is tight. I think he's like 48 points back or something. Let me just have a quick look here. He's on 117 to 162. So what's that, 45 points?
Yeah, so still doable.
I mean, mathematically doable. Realistically, probably not.
No, realistically, absolutely no chance in hell. But it's a championship, and it all comes down to maths.
Yeah, that's fair. That is a fair point. And Dovi has managed to second place his way in the last 3 championships by just being consistent. He has been consistent this year. But would I be surprised if he just went and won? Yeah, I would be surprised if he just went the next 2 races, actually. I would be, yeah.
I'd be very surprised. But for this season, the way it's gone, wouldn't be surprised at all.
No, it's a 2020 thing to happen, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, if he does, let's say, for instance, for shits and giggles, he comes out this weekend, Mir has an awful, awful Sunday, and all of a sudden it rains and Dovi's on the top step. You know, that's all it takes.
And that's the thing. And actually, when you put it, you say it like that, and you say it with such blasé confidence. I'm like, yeah, that could happen. It could happen.
But it is plausible. You know, we saw rain Friday and Saturday this weekend, and then all of a sudden they're racing on a dry track.
Yeah, and I mean, when we saw the rain in Le Mans, Mir was nowhere to be seen. The
Exactly.
Yamahas were nowhere to be seen.
Exactly. All of a sudden, enter the Ducati.
Yeah.
And Dovi's a bit of a demon in the wet.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
And let's face it, if he gets a sniff, I think we might see a little hint of the old Dovi come back.
Yeah.
And, you know, who knows what the weather's going to do this weekend, but I personally believe it is very plausible we can see that situation.
Yeah, we just have to hope for rain.
Yeah, I thought I really want it because I want to see a full-paced race. But
I don't mind a wet race, fan.
No, I don't. Actually, I don't mind a wet race because it adds just that element of absolute drama and carnage.
Yeah, I think I'd hate it if I was riding in it, but as I'm sitting in the dry and the warm, I don't mind it at all. No,
exactly. Well, my sofa's nice and comfy. It's perfect. I've ridden in the wet in like December, and it is awful.
Yeah, exactly.
Freaking awful in England in the rain in the winter. It is hell. But what the hell it must be like on a MotoGP bike, giving it full black down the straight. I don't even want to know.
Yeah, exactly. Like just that cold and the wet just cutting through everything. Doesn't matter whether you've got your waterproofs on or not. You're soaked and you're freezing cold.
Yeah, and you're doing 180.
Yeah, exactly. So we know that Dovi is out next year. He's taking a quote-unquote sabbatical.
Yes.
That's him done, though, isn't it? He's not going to get a ride in 2022. Not after this year, not having a year out, and not being in his mid-30s by that point.
No, he put out a press release earlier saying that, you know, he was grateful for the offers of work as a test rider. He has got something on the cards with, like, his partners. But in terms of a race, age is against him. Current form would say, would you take him? There's a lot of factors that I think are going against him, and I think if he's looking at this thinking, right, I'm going to have a year off and regroup, I honestly think he might be kidding himself.
Yeah, I reckon he'll go and do like sports car racing for Audi or something.
Yeah, I think that is probably the way he's going to go. Do something on four wheels, do something.
Yeah.
But I just cannot see a way back into the MotoGP grid. I think that is curtains, which is a real shame because I like Dovi, but I don't want to see Dovi racing in this kind of form.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see him have a Jorge Lorenzo final year or a Danny Pedrosa final year. He's won a race this year. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. Move on, mate. Thank you for the races.
Yeah, exactly. Right, Steve, let's take a quick break and then we will dive in to talk about Honda.
Let's go for it.
So, after that quick break, we're back talking about Honda. It's pretty... I don't know. Was it a poor weekend for Honda? I think it kind of was, but I think most of that's because they just didn't stay on the bikes. They had pace. Alex Marquez was doing all right, racing around about 8th place before he crashed.
Yep.
Cal's been pretty shit this year, let's be fair. Before he crashed, he was just being Cal. And Nakagami scored a decent result. So,
he did. And he was closing down on the leaders towards the end.
Another lap or two and he'd have had a podium.
Exactly. That boy has really saved, well, say him alone. Him and Alex Marquez at times have really saved Honda this year.
They really have, because obviously the ones you expected to do well, Marquez has been out all year. You'd expect Crutchlow to regularly score podiums, and he hasn't been able to step up to the plate this year because he's been so battered.
He has had a mashing this year. That boy has been hit by a bus.
Yeah.
So we can't really hold that against him. But when he has been on track, he's been injured, so his results haven't been quite as good as what they could have been.
Yeah.
It has just been a year to write off the factory and riders. Personally, I think.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, it's certainly. I don't know. I guess they had a reasonable weekend in the end. Nakagami saved their weekend, definitely.
Yes, yeah. Like you said in your notes, a great way to recover from the heartbreak of Aragon, which is a perfect way of summing it up.
Yeah, exactly. He did qualify in 3rd, and he finished the race in 4th. And like we say, he probably could have scored a podium. Set himself up well for next weekend.
Absolutely, yes. If he could just take this away, if we see similar conditions on the Sunday, I think he's in for a good shout as long as he keeps a level head of a podium.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I could see him doing it.
Yeah, he could be the one person, really, that I could see upsetting the apple cart with the championship boys. If he can get in a mix.
I don't know. I have got someone else I think is going to win the race, but we'll get into that when we talk about that factory coming up soon. But Cal Crutchlow as well, we have briefly said, didn't finish the race, qualified 16th, pretty terrible. Has said he won't take that Aprilia seat next year. But apparently is in talks with other teams as a test rider with a few wildcard appearances, but that's all we know about that. So
we're going to lose some faces this year.
It's a weird year, isn't it? We're going to lose a lot of people. It really feels like a big transition year this year. It feels like a lot of riders are changing and the team order is being mixed up this year.
Absolutely. But we've covered this in a podcast previously a couple of years back where all of a sudden we see a big shift in riders. We get a group come through of a certain age, race through their career and almost leave at the same time.
Yeah, they kind of all leave within 2 or 3 seasons of each other.
Yeah, which I feel we're sort of in the midst of that.
Yeah, certainly.
I think it will happen again next year. Possibly not the year after that. But I see a real shift in sort of the power in MotoGP.
Definitely. Happening. And like we say, it's not just the shift in the riders at the top. It's the shift in the factories at the top. And that's making the shift in the riders even more obvious because riders who previously would be scrapping and fighting to get into one of the top 2 teams, to get into the Honda or Yamaha if they wanted a chance to win a race, can now be in like 5-6 teams and be winning races.
Exactly. It is a big transitional year.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Right.
So Alex Marquez, we mentioned, talking about new faces, qualified 14th, didn't finish the race, crashed out of about 8th place. Not his fault, the crash, though.
No.
He got severely cut up by Dovizioso, didn't he? And it just didn't. Not a good look for Dovi, I don't think.
No, that was definitely a Dovey dick move.
Oh, I like that. A Dovi
Like
dick move.
Like that one?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Oh, I like that one as well. I thought I'd drop that in there. But yeah, whatever happened, the Dovey dick move led to him literally slamming his bike right in front of Alex Marquez. Left him no option but to smash a good handful of brake.
Yeah.
Down he goes.
Yeah, that's it. He kind of cut him up in the braking zone. The thing was, he didn't cut him up enough for it to be like, oh, Dovey, you're going to get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
He cut him up just enough to make him crash, but left him just enough room that he maybe could have not crashed.
Yeah, I think in the heat of the moment with the track conditions, Dovey was right in front of him. He pulled that brake. If he'd have just let it off a bit, by the time Dovey, his momentum had moved him around the corner, there would have been free track in front of Alex Marquez. And he could have just rolled off the brake and just gone in the gravel.
Yeah.
But such is such, at that split second, he pulled the brake lever, down he went.
And that said, actually, look what happened last time. A Ducati cut someone up and the bike behind didn't grab too much brake. It was Morbidelli and it was Austria, and two bikes nearly killed two factory Yamahas. So
Exactly. Grab a handful of brake.
yeah, exactly.
Let's not have that situation again.
We like to avoid that one. So let's just cover Stefan Bradl quickly. Not a lot to say there. Qualified 13th, finished 12th. Last of the quote-unquote normal runners, but just a standard weekend for Bradl, I think.
The microphone is calling.
Yes, yeah. I think he might be quite glad when he can just get back to sitting in his commentary box.
Yeah, he might be like, fuck this, let's get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. But he's probably earning a pretty penny at the moment, so...
Yeah, and it's something he can take away and talk about, so cracking experience. Still got his racing career going, so...
That's it, and with factory like the Repsol Honda team, so...
Yeah, exactly. That's a big scalp.
Yes. Right, let's get on to the other orange team, shall we? And have a quick talk about KTM.
Let's go for KTM.
Great weekend for KTM.
Yes.
I think missing a rider. Lecuona out. Now, Lecuona was out because people around him got diagnosed with COVID, right?
Yeah, so he was in the vicinity. I can't remember exactly who it was. I want to say it was like his brother and his assistant, I believe, off the top of my head. But because he had been in such close proximity to them, the rules state that he then has to isolate as well.
Okay.
So although he is COVID-free, he is still possibly developing COVID.
Okay, fair enough. So it's just a waiting game now. See what happens. He might be back for Portimao, he might not.
Exactly. So it's like standard COVID restrictions all over the world. We get the same thing here in the UK. If you've been around someone, isolate.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I believe, don't quote, but that is, I believe.
Yeah. So it's sort of a shame for him as well after seeing the other three bikes do so well. So we saw Brad Binder qualifying 10th. We saw Miguel Oliveira qualifying 8th, and Paul Espargaro put it on pole.
Oh, amazing.
Which was, a real great effort. Let's, I guess, start with their finishing order. So Brad Binder went from 10th to 7th. That's not really a story of his race, is it? He had to do the long lap penalty, which he got for colliding with Miller.
Yeah, last time out.
Yeah, that's it. When he just kind of crashed into the back of Miller. So he had his long lap penalty. By the time he got to do that, it dropped him way down. He was down like well outside the points at one point. And then managed to just cut his way back through the field, lapping almost as quickly as his teammate, who finished the race in third.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of the race that could have been for Binder, I think.
I think so. If it hadn't been for that long lap penalty, he would have definitely been somewhere up there with pole.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for the long lap penalty, I'm certain he'd have been in the top 5.
Absolutely, yeah, all day long.
He'd qualified better and didn't have the long lap penalty. I think he'd have been hassling pole for the back end of the podium.
Yeah, such a shame he got that. But yeah, we'll never know. But sets them all up for another fantastic race this weekend.
It really does. We know Binder improves week on week. And has got better results traditionally in each of the back-to-back rounds he's done. The second round of the back-to-backs he's done a much better race. And I'm actually picking him for my win this week.
I don't know. I do not know. I think it's going to be something along the lines of my prediction would be a bit of a epic tussle between a couple of Suzukis and a couple of KTMs, and I could see a Honda in the ointment. So that is my car. I wouldn't like to pick an order, but I am really hoping, because like you say, traditionally both of these factories grow from one weekend to the other. So I could see, all barring some mistakes and some rush of blood, I could see a bit of an epic weekend coming up.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think we might need it because I'm pretty sure the championship will be over this weekend.
I think so. I think this weekend needs to give us a bit of the edge of the seat. I'm not watching. I can't watch it. Turn the telly off. No shit, don't do that. I still want to see it. No, actually, turn it off.
I want to watch between my fingers. I can't possibly. Yeah.
The horror movie situation where you can't take your eyes off it, but at the same time, you want to go and hide and cry behind the sofa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to see. Maybe that's not what the riders want to see, though.
No, the riders will be hoping that everyone else falls off and I can just finish the race.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay the hell away from me.
So the other KTMs, we saw Miguel Oliveira qualifying 8th, like we said, finished 5th. Just a great race for Oliveira again. He's just growing in stature all year, isn't he?
He is. He has looked fantastic from the off. Just improving race on race. Yeah, he's had some off weekends, but every time he comes out, whatever the problem has been before, he seems to rectify it.
Yeah, and he just seems to get almost the best out of the bike. I feel like he's maybe not on the level of Pol Espargaro, but then Pol Espargaro's been in MotoGP for like 7 years or something. Like Miguel Oliveira, this is only his second year.
Exactly. The experience and time on that bike, and he is going to be a real contender.
Yeah, next year is going to be good with him and Binder both in the factory squad.
Yes, yeah, that is going to be awesome. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and the aforementioned Pol Espargaro then qualifying on pole and racing for 3rd. Only losing to the two Suzukis. I think this was a really solid weekend for Pol.
Yes.
I know he sort of became the bad guy at the beginning of the year after kicking off at Austria and waved his arms about the red flags and he sort of garnered everyone's hatred. Everyone who wanted to be angry at MotoGP just aimed it all at Pol Espargaro, and I was definitely included in that.
Yeah, same here.
And it's nice to see him still scoring well and still just being pretty happy and chilled.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very smiley, likable person. You see him on TV at home, and he's just sort of this massive grin. And then he comes out and does something like this weekend. And you're like, oh, fuck, I hate him, but I can't.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. I am still intrigued by next year's move because I don't know if he's looking over at that Honda and being like, oh, shit, this KTM's a better bike. But is the KTM a better bike? I don't know. I'm a bit torn on it at the moment.
I don't know. There's a lot of people and some big pundits tipping him to do really well. But at the same time, there's equal going, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think he's going to do that great. A massive part of me, now he is starting to get some decent results in this bike. It's like, Christ, why have you moved? I really want to see you build on this year, next year.
Yeah, and moving from the project that he's been there from the start.
Exactly.
And he's been there in the year it's won races. He's scored podiums, and he hasn't quite clinched that race win. But arguably, KTM are on such a trajectory right now that in 2 years they could be champions.
Exactly. And a big part of me thinks he signed too early.
Yeah, I'm thinking that.
You know, at the start of the season, all right, the form hadn't been that great. Honda came around, Honda being one of the biggest factory names in the world with their pedigree and heritage. And he's just looked at it and gone, yeah, damn right, I want to be in that factory.
Yeah.
And then he's looked back and gone, shit, maybe I jumped a bit too soon. But equal amounts of people are sat there saying, I really want to see what he can do. He's done so well this year. Let's see now what he can do on the Honda. So it's like, it's Marmite, really. You either love it or hate it. It's 50-50. I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think, while I understand the thought process that went into it at the start of the year, when Repsol Honda come knocking, you don't turn them down, do you? That seems like a silly thing to do. And yet, like we've just been talking about, there's the changing of the guard coming.
Exactly.
And it's pretty evident that Honda are one of 2 factories this year to not have won a race. The other one's Aprilia, for fuck's sake. Every other manufacturer has won races. In fact, every other manufacturer has won multiple races.
Yes. that's not something you want to be included in.
No, exactly. And now he's jumping off from KTM,
Yeah.
who I believe are ahead of Honda in the team standings. And yes, okay, so we can look at the riders. We can look at Brad Binder. We can look at Pol Espargaro. Look at Oliveira. Even how Lecuona's coming along. And say, combined, are they better than this year's offering of Bradl, Cal, Alex Marquez, and Nakagami? I mean, probably yes. They probably are better riders as a collective, so that would make a difference. But I don't know. It does look like the KTM could be a better, maybe not a better all-round bike, but its peaks are higher.
I don't know.
It's tough, isn't it? Because it's especially tough for us, I think, just because we only know what we've seen on TV. We're not talking to any of these guys. We're not riding those bikes. We don't understand really the down to a real granular level. We don't understand what's going on in this grid. So maybe Espargaro will go out, and there are a lot of pundits, like you say, that are saying Espargaro is going to jump on the Honda. He's going to get grips with it within a few sessions. And he's going to be wrestling it around and almost be like Marc Marquez. I mean, he was challenging Marc Marquez in Moto2. They were quite fierce rivals. So
there's every chance he's going to come out and absolutely just get to grips with it and blaze it.
Yeah.
But there's also as much equal chance he's going to come out and have a torrid time.
Yes.
And that is the situation I don't want to see at all. And I don't know. I'm going to go with the fact that I think, personally, he's jumped the gun too early and should have stuck with a KTM. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that on that one.
Yeah, that's fair. So on that note, let's move us on to Suzuki then.
Let's go for the blue bike.
The blue bike, the blue and silver bike, man. Suzuki 1-2, both look great, both contrasting riding styles, yet they just both got to the end. First Suzuki 1-2 since the 80s, did I read somewhere?
Yeah.
Like, that's a good stat, fucking hell. Mir and Rins, what a bloody team.
Absolute awesome stat. At this point in time, David Brivido is going to be sat there just grinning like an idiot.
Yeah, he certainly will be. Will be. And it give him, one more week and they're going to be champions in their...
The champagne is going to get sprayed. Yes, 6th year. I do love the fact, did you notice that during the race, they actually had a heartbeat monitor
on Brivio, and he was up at 120 beats per minute or something. And he's just sitting. He was just sitting watching it, and his heart.
Yeah, pounding away. I was like, calm down. They're going to start getting the defib out in a minute, mate.
He didn't have his pacemaker kicking in at that point.
Sweat on. I thought just the simple fact that someone had thought, hang on, let's slap a heartbeat monitor on this dude.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? Like, I don't know when the last time my heart rate was at 120 BPM.
After this weekend, I really want to get a heart rate monitor, just wear it and see what mine is in situations like where you have a bit of a flutter, where you just when you're resting and you're in a situation where you're watching something that kicks it off to 120 beats a minute.
I don't think I ever have that as just my resting heart rate is pretty low, and that's not because I'm fit, it's because I'm lazy. And I don't generally do enough to exercise to end up picking my heart rate up. When I'm doing exercise, it's like walking. I just walk a long way for exercise. So my heart rate's probably very rarely above 100 BPM. I can't imagine just sitting still and being so tense that your heart rate's up at 120.
I don't. My fitness is at home with the boys chasing them about playing with them. Also, I don't chase Brody about. He can't walk yet.
That's my kind of chase, mate.
Yes, I just sort of just chase Enzo around. I have a very static job where I don't have to do that much running about, and it's in one place for a long time. But I can't see my heart rate ever getting that high. I really can't see any situation where it gets above 120.
I bet yours did though when you were cycling and stuff to work, because it's a fucking big hill from your house, for quite a long way. That's a good cycle. That would get your heart rate going.
It's from door to door. It's 1.2 miles, and
that hill is bloody half of it, and it's a steep hill, man. I don't like walking up that hill.
I tell you what, you take the boy when you're back, get the double buggy, stick both boys in it, and push them up there. I like that. No,
that's what I've got a car for.
Right. But anyway, for anyone where I live, you come out of my house and it's instant hill. 1.2 miles to where I used to work, and I worked it out on my phone app. 0.75 of that is uphill, and this is quite a long, steep hill. I used to cycle it every day, coming down it, getting home like a rocket, mate.
I once overtook a moped on my push bike coming down that hill. So
Yeah, I've got alongside a car once.
that's a good effort.
That was a good effort. It's just go. There's a school right at the top of the hill, so everything slows down 20 miles an hour. And the racer in my head just went, I see an opportunity here. But just as I got around alongside him, it was a real crappy old Fiesta thing. And I looked down, and there's this chav sat in there, and he went, I ain't having this, and just blatted it.
Mate, that's what I'd have done.
Yeah, just left me in this cloud of like oily smoke. Yeah, horrid fumes, and it just broke my heart.
Well, it nearly happened. But let's get back to the race at hand.
Yes, not talking about big hills.
Yeah, Alex Rins qualified second, finished second in the race. Took an early lead. Looked like he was going to pull away, actually, and I thought, whoa, this is good, because this is Rins taking it to Mir here. This is going to be the championship is on. And then Mir, who qualified fifth and did eventually go on to finish first. Mir pulled up behind him and just sat there riding round. They were just riding around, the two of them. There was the KTM of Pol Espargaro a few seconds back.
Yep.
And it just looked like that's how it was going to go. It didn't look like Mir was going to push it too hard. It looked like Rins was just holding it out. And then Rins made one mistake and ran maybe 3 or 4 meters offline.
Maybe not even that. It was just they kept a real honest strategy-based race the whole time.
There was no horrible block passes. There was nothing. Tough overtakes. It was just two friends, and they do seem to be quite good friends, actually.
They do seem like they get on really well. But like you said, there was no just showing him the front tyre coming up alongside him. There was none of that. It was just wheels in line, follow your leader. And like you say, Rins made one tiny little mistake, and because their pace was so similar, Mir goes through. Mir pulls I think at one point he had nearly half a second lead, and that was it.
Yeah, race. Like Mir, when he did get in front, he did pull a gap and he did go, didn't he? So arguably he had the pace to do that all along. So you never know, he might have just pounced in the last 3 or 4 laps anyway.
He could have done, he was in the broken air in the slipstream of Rins, which some people say you don't want to be in because you don't want to overheat your front tyre. You've got no airflow going over it. But it obviously worked for the Suzuki.
Suzuki's just so good on its tyres, though, isn't it? It's not like the Honda. It's not like the Honda that overheats the tyres very easily. It's not like the Yamaha that overheats the engine very easily. The Suzuki's can deal with everything. It can just hold it well, and it just handles it fine.
Yeah, it is just the perfect bike to be on at the minute on that MotoGP grid.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't think it matters what track they go to. That bike, if you're given the option, if you could turn up on a Friday morning, Thursday morning, and if everyone got to pick what bike, everyone's going to, there's going to be 20 odd hands raising for Suzuki.
I think that's probably fair. I think it looks like they've got a really solid base setting. It looks after the tyres. Yeah, it might not be the fastest bike over 1 lap, but that's the trade-off they've got for this amazing race pace.
Yeah. That bike proves you don't have to be the fastest down the back straight to win a race.
That's certainly true.
Yeah, cracking, absolutely cracking. These guys are, like it says on the fantasy app, on fire.
They really are on fire. I mean, they're going to be 1-2 in the championship, I'm sure, by the time the championship's over. Have you got any idea when the last time Suzuki were 1-2 in the championship?
Not a clue. A long time ago, a very long time ago, and they could still get that coveted Triple Crown this year.
And it looks like they're going to. I think they're leading all 3 championships now.
Yeah, I can't see anyone taking it away from them. Barring a mistake or somebody else tripping them up, it's theirs. It's all theirs. The championship is Miz alone to lose, and it's down to them to just do what they're doing. If we get a repeat this weekend, no one's going to be disappointed because we're going to see a new champion crowned. If they swap places and it goes down to Portimao, no one's going to be disappointed because we're going to see a neutral base on a track we've never been to with MotoGP bikes that I can remember, and it's going to be fucking awesome. Yeah,
that's it. It's going to be great. Did you see Mir's press conference where they asked him about whether he felt like he was under pressure?
Yes, I saw snippets of it, but I was trying to get Brody to sleep, so I had to keep walking in that room. So I missed most of it.
This was bloody great, and while I've not disliked Mir at all this season, I have really wanted to see him win the championship without winning a race.
Yeah.
I can't say I've been his biggest fan. It's not like I'm sitting here like really rooting for him, like I root for like Brad Binder or anything. But after watching this press conference, I kind of really come around to him, and I really have been rooting for him now. So he was asked whether he felt like he was under a lot of pressure, and he started talking. And this is a 23-year-old lad. Let's not forget here. And he was talking about it, and he's like, I don't really feel like I'm under pressure. He's like, the pressure I'm under is it's like a good pressure. He's like, I'm a MotoGP rider. This is my job. The pressure is good pressure. He's like, if I win the title, that's going to be amazing. That's going to be really good. But if I don't win it, that's still going to be good. He's like, I still ride a motorbike for my job. He's like, real pressure is for people who can't afford the rent or who can't put food on the table because of COVID-19. He's like, I'm not under real pressure. I've got a great job.
Cracking. Absolutely cracking.
And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, this lad's like a 23-year-old kid who's just like on top of the world at the minute, leading the world title. Arguably, like if we just look at the stats and of MotoGP riders right now, he's the best in the world. And he's just a young lad that should just be out drinking and partying and just fucking loving life. And he's just smart enough and got the wherewithal to just come out with that. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah, you go out in the street and ask any 22-year-old lad up this road what pressure is, they'll turn around and say something your boiler produces.
I don't even think a lot of people who live near you understand what a boiler is, mate.
No, probably not. Yeah, you know what people around here are like. Let's not get on to that subject.
No. Okay, let's skip that. So that brings us to the end of the race, I think.
Yes.
So last week we did our predictions of what we thought was going to happen.
We did.
We were both wrong.
We were very wrong.
Neither one of us were very wrong. We scored 2 of the podium positions correctly each. So I thought it was going to be a Quartararo first, Mir second, Rins third. You thought it was going to be Morbidelli, Rins, Mir.
Yeah, closer than me.
Just, but only just. What we actually saw was a Mir, Rins, and Pol Espargaro. So I don't know, we'll just call it 2 out of 3 each and roll with that.
All right. We'll go with that one. I'm happy with that.
Cool. Predictions for next week.
Oh, I don't know. I want to say we're going to see a Suzuki 1-2.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I could see with everyone's form this weekend, there being a real tussle and a few mistakes. So I am going to go Rins, Nakagami, Mir.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going with a Binder, Rins, Mir.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what happens.
Like it.
So, if anyone has got any questions, we don't have any questions this week, as far as I'm aware.
No, not that I've had.
So if anyone does have any questions, anything you want to hear from us, anything you want to say, hear from us, anything you want to say to us, anything you want to hear us talk about, please jump on and let us know. You can find us at...
We are For the Love of MotoGP, and you can find us on Instagram and Twitter, and we got a Facebook page, or drop us an email. We are For the Love of MotoGP @gmail.com.
Look at that, mate. I'm going to have to stop being impressed that you're getting it right soon, because you've got it right so many times in a row.
I'm on fire, mate. I should get one of those little Bernie signs next to my name.
Shall we... How long have we been going? We've been going quite long. Should we run through the Fantasy League quickly?
Yeah. Should we have a quick look? I've got to find it now. Where is it? I've lost it. No, I haven't. There it is.
I've got it open here. So we'll run through the 12 places. Still only 12 people. So please join if you want. Well, I guess there's already a March point now. Save it till next year.
But come and say hello if you want.
Yeah, come and say hello. So we'll just dive through quickly. 12th place, we've got Awuzo. 11th is Tuji. 10th is 47 Riders. 9th is Mummy Racer. 8th is Alex Rins and Anti Noda. 7th is me with Tim's Titans. 6th is Caballero Cruzado. 5th upwards is where it's been interesting for most of the latter part of this season, because it's where the places are chopping and changing once more.
They are.
So Rapid Racing in 5th there. Big Al Racing in 4th. Steve, you're in 3rd place with 1,053.5 points.
Sitting there lovely.
2nd place, 9.5 points ahead of you, is Sassy Chassis Lassie with 163 points. And then Quick maths tells me it's 8.5 points further ahead to Mission Now Win in first place with 1,071.5 points.
Aye.
Both Sassy Chassis Lassie and Mission Now Win have got boosts left, as has Rapid Racing in 5th. So use those boosts because the final 2 rounds are going to get tight.
They are going to get tight.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I've been enjoying the Fantasy League actually in these last few rounds because just watching this chop and change at the top there.
It's been interesting. I'm really pleased they did this year, and I hope they do it again next year. And it would be nice to get. We'll have another league next year, so join in.
Yeah, we certainly will. We certainly will. And I think next year we'll arrange prizes and things. I think.
Yeah, we'll see what we can come up with. See if there's what we can get.
Yeah, we'll work something out for that. But yes, so. Keep going, another 2 rounds to go. And Steve, you are less than 20 points off the lead here, so it's not all over for you either, my friend.
It's not, but there are boosts to be had, so I think that is a given.
I mean, that's probably fair. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's not over till the fat lady sings, but I think she's starting to whistle.
She's starting to wish she's getting there. If anyone does want to join the Fantasy League for the last 2 rounds, again, I don't really know why you would, but you can. You're more than welcome. Just check out the show notes and all the information's in there. And I think, Steve, that's us, isn't it?
I think that is us done, buddy.
Cool. So thank you all very much for listening, and we will speak to you after the second Valencia round in about a week's time. So look after yourselves. Goodbye.
Take care, guys.
Music is by Andrew Greenwood. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.